What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about new car prices. Now, as we know, supply is low and demand is high. So usually dealers will add markup. But as of 2020, 2021, and now stepping into 2022, it's gotten so out of hand with dealer markups that the actual manufacturers are starting to step in to help regulate this. So this should be a pretty interesting video. I definitely recommend watching the whole way through because I'm going to give you a breakdown of what they're going to do to actually curb this and how to prevent dealers from charging more money. Also, I'd love to hear from you guys on some of the crazy outrageous market stickers that you guys have seen, because I've seen markups upwards of $100,000, which I'm going to show you when we first start the video. But if you guys can do me a huge favor before I get into it, please gently squeeze the like button for YouTube algorithm. It helps me find more amazing people like yourselves enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. We do post 3 times a week. And once again, follow us on Instagram, automotive.life. Let's get into the video. So before I get into the video, I just want to recap really quickly about the last 2 videos that I've made. They're actually doing really well, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys, which I really appreciate. First one was how the market bubble was going to pop. Also, the problems that Carvana is having. Now, a lot of you guys have reached out, gave me so much information of what's going on with Carvana. I'm going to do a second video to follow up with. I think we're upwards of about 40 lawsuits now, and I think their license just got suspended in Florida, but I'm going to go ahead and do that in another video. But I figured we start this video with something pretty hilarious. So I'm going to go ahead and put up here the first picture of the highest markup that I found so far. So the first markup we're going to show you is pretty hilarious. This one actually came from my Instagram page. Now, this one I got via Johnny Lieberman, which is a automotive journalist, and this is from Mercedes-Benz of Beverly Hills. It is a 2021 GT Black Series. MSRP on this car is about $334,000 with a market adjustment of $300,000, which brings you to a grand total of $634,000. That is absolutely insane. That is probably the highest markup I've seen. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, Ferraris and Lambos do the same thing. It's not true. A lot of Ferrari and Lamborghini dealerships have things in their contract where they have to sell it for the actual price. Now, once it goes used, they're allowed to resell it for whatever they want, but that's one of the things that if they order it at the market price, that's what they're going to pay. But I wanted to start off with this one. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're Honda, Toyota, Ford, Chevy, Mercedes, Nissan, whatever. It all comes around. They're all charging crazy prices because nobody's regulating it. They're allowed to do it, which, like I said, is going to slowly start to end. So the first article is from Automotive News. Ford is working to limit dealership markups on the brand new Ford F-150 Lightning EV. Now, this is a big thing for Ford, and so they wanted to come out there and really push this. It's been in the news. They're hyping it up. I see commercials on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. So Ford is really hitting this hard. So the article continues with, Ford is worried that the markups of $30,000 that some retailers are demanding will hurt the sales of the Ford Lightning EV, which I believe is totally true. You know, Ford is not probably making a lot of money on this particular vehicle. You know, when they put out a lot of these new electrical vehicles, the first year or two, I believe they're always selling them at a loss because of the technology they had to make. You know, they're going to get their money back from like tax refunds or rebates or whatever else that the government gives them. But, you know, they want to put these things out in the workforce. They want regular people to use them, like for driving, for work, construction work, people to get more familiar with them. So they're really excited to put this car out there in the market and see what it does. But if dealers are charging, you know, $30,000 more, the regular people that are going to buy this for like a work truck are not going to get it. And so Ford won't get the data they need to maybe make it a better work truck or a better daily driver. It's going to be somebody's show truck, and they're going to trick them all out, or they're just going to sit in somebody's garage. So the markups are a really big problem. And it's not only limited to the Ford F-150 Lightning. So the next car we're going to talk about is the Ford Bronco, which is extremely popular. When Ford released that they were going to be making another group of these, people lost their minds. I had friends, even family members, personally go down and purchase these from the dealership. Now, I believe this is probably one of the main reasons why the manufacturers are stepping in to help regulate the market adjustment and some of the markups that dealers are doing. So the next car we're going to be talking about is the Ford Bronco. Now, the Ford Bronco came out with a huge fanfare. Ford knocked it out of the park. When they announced that vehicle, there was people lining up outside the door just to get a chance to look at one and also to order one. I personally have friends and family that have purchased these things and are still patiently waiting to get their vehicles in. Now, unfortunately, during the release, a lot of the dealers did some really shady stuff where they started doing crazy markup adjustments. People are selling allocations. And I think this is what one of the big things that I guess triggered the manufacturers to step in and to help start regulating dealer markups. Now, I know in California there was 2 cases where dealers sold a Bronco allocation, and when the car came in, the dealer was insisting they paid a $10,000 markup because they couldn't get another one to replace it, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they wound up going to court, and the people won and the dealership lost. Now, a lot of the dealers are refusing to sell them for MSRP. They want full markup, which, like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm not pro-consumer, I'm not pro-dealer, I want to be somewhere in the middle. I have no problem with dealers marking it up a few bucks because we know, obviously, supply and demand. It is what it is. But you don't mark something up $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 above MSRP and try to justify it. And so now, like I said, it's gotten so bad that the manufacturers are stepping in. Another one, which just came out, which is a Ford Maverick, nice looking truck. I got a window sticker right here. 22 Maverick. List price is $36,000 or MSRP. They put a $9,000 market value adjustment on it. And that's just one of the ones that I found. I'm sure that in your comment section, if you bought one of these trucks, please put in the comment section what you bought it for, because some of the markups I've seen have just been astronomical. And the last one we'll talk about for Ford wise is the Ford Mustang. The Ford Shelby GT 350 and 500s, I've seen some of them with dealer markups of over $30,000 for these things. Just insane, I mean, they're a beautiful car and I know they're highly desirable, but it's just like, come on, people, like, you can't sustain that. And then on top of that, if the customer wants to buy it and then turn around and sell it, that's his prerogative. But as a dealer, you have to just basically sell it for MSRP or a few bucks above, not $20,000, $30,000. Now, I'm going to share with you guys a list that I found online. It is a list of dealers that are not charging additional pricing on top of MSRP. This one right here is a list of Ford dealerships in the United States. And it lists you a bunch that are saying, hey, there's no markups, there's no extra prices, call these people, which I think is really neat. If you have anybody on this list, make sure you add it to it, but I'll leave that in the link description below. So if you guys want to find a list of a dealer, if you're interested in buying a new Ford at no markup, this list is here for you to view. So after Ford put out that letter to their dealers, an internal memo stating that, hey, dealers shouldn't be overpricing customers, not gouging people, not overcharging very high markups, GM followed suit and decided to send a same internal memo and letter to its dealers. Now, I'm going to quote a article from Motor Trend. This one is GM to dealers, do not gouge customers on the new Hummer EV, Z06, Silverado EV, and the new, I can't know how to pronounce it, but it's the new Cadillac that's coming out with a lot of high praise. And so they're really worried that it's going to affect the bottom dollar and the people coming out with it. Now, this article states that earlier this month, we reported that Ford's corporate offices have warned dealers against demanding extra deposits or any other payments on reservations or Holte anticipation of vehicles like the upcoming new Ford F-150. Now GM comes in with their own similar words stating same thing to its Chevy, GMC, Buick, Cadillac dealers at the exact same time. So the internal post originally read that this is attributed to GM North America's president, Steve Carlizzi. The letter has been since authenticated. The Carlizzi notes that most of its dealers are playing fair, but a small amount of dealers are engaging in practices that is not supported in positive sales experiences for customers, aka gouging the hell out of them. And so, they go on basically just talking about how they don't like the way they're doing it. This additional markup is a joke, that it's costing a lot of consumers, headache, problems. Same thing. People are talking about adding markups on top of markups. I mean, it's a pretty good article. I'll leave a link in the description below. And they even actually have the same funny markups that I put, like the first one from John Lieberman about the $300,000 Mercedes. And this picture is actually in here for outrageous markups that they're currently seeing in the market. Now, as you guys know, the new Hummer is coming out with a lot of praise, and there's a lot of dealers that are putting in as many allocations as they can. There's a lot of people putting their money down for the first batch that are coming out. So it is going to be a highly sought after vehicle. And like I said, I think this is probably one of the biggest ones. It's not going to be the Z06. I believe it's going to be the Hummer with the highest markup if GM doesn't step in and basically squash it. Next one, obviously you guys know, is the new Z06 Corvette. Thing is absolutely amazing. I think they knocked it out of the park with this one. And I know that everybody that clambered to get the 2020 Corvette is now going to be regretting it and trying to get this one, because a lot of these people during the hype of 2020 and 2021 were overpaying. What was the cheapest one I saw? I think it was a base model for $40,000 over MSRP at a dealership here in Las Vegas, and they were selling them like crazy. So those people that paid $100,000 for a base Corvette, when this new Z06 comes out and you can buy it for the same price, I'm sure they're gonna have some sort of ill will. So I want to see what happens when the dealer, or when the people start trading these things in. I want to see how fast that Corvette market plummets. I believe that GM and Ford are getting so frustrated with these crazy markups is they have to step in now to do something about it, and that's currently what they're doing. So in this article from Motor Trend, it actually states that, as a dealer or a franchisee, they're allowed to put the pricing of whatever they want. If they want to mark it up, they're allowed to mark it up. There's nothing they can do. But what GM and Ford are talking about is reducing allocation for these particular dealers that are practicing in these type of principles that are negative towards the actual brand. Now, in this thing, it states that they, by law, part of their dealer agreement, have to abide by positively brand practices and following basically every other dealer in their pricing. So if you go to McDonald's down the street and you go to McDonald's 4 blocks away, most likely the Big Mac is the same price. And that's what Chevy's trying to do. There are some dealers that are playing ball, and there's some dealers that are not. And the only way to straighten people out is to hit them in their pockets. So if Ford and Chevy start messing with people's allocations, that is huge. As a consumer, this is a good thing for you guys, because if there's a dealer across the street that is charging an arm and a leg and maybe 10, 15K over MSRP for a truck, don't even mess with them. Go next door, find the place, like in these lists that I'm sending down here, find a dealer that doesn't do that, and they're gonna be rewarded with more allocation. So every time a new model, something popular like this comes out, all these people right now that are price gouging, I believe that when the new Maverick comes out, also the new Ford Lightning, this new Hummer, the Z06, they're going through and GM and Ford are not dummies. They're two of the biggest automotive manufacturers in the world. They're watching what their dealers are doing. And I guarantee you they have a list of dealers that are gouging the hell out of people and dealers that are not. And whoever is not screwing over people, I believe, is going to get the biggest allocation for the first batch of these vehicles. And I think that if they keep continuing those good practices, from this article, it makes it seem like they're going to be rewarded with even more allocation, which is a good thing. Now, a lot of people are worried that the dealers are going to do something sneaky to get around this. Now, I can't remember that. I think the Ferrari dealership was either in New York or New Jersey, but they were basically selling their allocations to their own people and then turning around and then selling the car used for $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 marked up. Ford and GM are both aware of this, and so what they want to do is they want to put a time limit of 6 months, where if you take in a new trade, you cannot sell it for more than what it actually is for those first 6 months, because they're worried that a lot of the allocations, they're just going to turn around and sell to somebody, and then they're going to sell to like a broker or a wholesaler, and they're just going to turn around and sell it back to them, and then the dealer's going to mark it up to something crazy or astronomical, and they don't want that. They want to regulate the prices. One of the things that I remember Chevy came out with was they wanted the Corvette to be affordable. They wanted everybody to enjoy this car, and like I said, I got a $200,000 R8, and the Corvette looks just as beautiful, drives just as good, and I think in some cases actually more fun. It's not as tamed or as refined as the R8, but it's just a blast to drive, and they hit it out of the park. And they want to get that feeling out on the road. They want to get people out there doing stuff, building aftermarket things for it, putting turbos on it, just enjoying it. That's what they want. Same thing with the Ford Lightning. They are so excited. They're going to be bringing out their first all-electric hybrid truck before like 90% of the population. I know the Cybertruck is supposed to be coming out forever in a decade. Who knows, nothing's coming out. It's probably going to come out in 5 years from now. So Ford technically will be the first one in the market with a big push. I still don't know what the hell Rivion's doing. I see him driving around LA, but I don't know anybody personally that's bought one. If you have, please message me in the section below. I'd love to come review it or even just to talk to you about it. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to wrap this video up with just showing you guys that dealer markups could be ending here shortly depending on how this goes. And I think once Ford and GM do this, a lot of the other manufacturers, Honda, Toyota, you know, all these other companies are going to follow suit, because it is hurting some of the people when it comes to buying the cars. And you know, even as inflation is raising, what is it, 7% annually per year now, you know, eventually your cars are going to be so overpriced that most people can't even afford them. I think the average new car, you had to make at least, I think it was like $29 an hour to afford like an average new truck, which, you know, a big chunk of America unfortunately doesn't have that. So all these numbers are skewing these things. It's making it, you know, go crazy. It's hard for a major manufacturer to put out sales numbers to see if this is something viable, then keep selling. So anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, please put something in the comment section below if you have your own MSRP story. If you have some more information on like Carvana, more information about automotive stories, send me any pictures or articles in my Instagram at automotive.life, which I'll leave right over here. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.